In that case, Matt, now that we have to share a camera for this segment, not a camera, a microphone, would you like to tell everyone about the huge Mythic Nerfs? Now going back to our reporter in the field, Matt. Now
Hello.
to fix my camera.
Hello, I'm in the field. Microphone. I'm in the field apparently now. My creative hands. Yeah, that's actually kind of crazy. You just destroyed that. Well done. Well done. Let's talk about Mythic Nerfs. Do you have that up there? Yes, you do. But that's not helpful. Scroll down a bit. There you go. That's
That's all you have to go on.
Yeah, that's basically it, right? Where it's just this, the consistent, continual thing of even my fucking mic's in a weird place now. I'm looking at it all the time. They just keep doing it, and this is why that discussion was had with Max and stuff, and then obviously Scripe reacted that for 10 minutes, paused it, and then talked about it for 3 hours instead of listening to them talk about it. I think, but it was really interesting to see.
What? Transformative React?
yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, God only knows.
Dark Viper in this immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I spent all the time getting my mic in the right place, and it happens. Yeah, that's how it is. But no, it's like that. There's a real philosophical problem with Mythic Dungeons at the minute, or Mythic Raids in World of Warcraft, and they just keep going, well, sorry, we want players to do this, so we have to nerf it. They haven't told us that, but we assume that's why, because obviously that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point. They actually want to do that stuff, so they've got like just crazier nerfs. Their reasoning for this one here is they're too difficult due to punishing mechanics, so we want to reduce the likelihood that mechanics can quickly cause an unrecoverable wipe, which is, in another word, saying these mechanics are too hard for the players that are currently trying to clear this, so we're nerfing them. That's different mechanically to how it used to be, because that was harder mechanically, but they passed it, so now we've made a easier mechanically fight. And I think that's because obviously people will think about difficulty and go back to blah blah, mathematically impossible, and they'll be like, okay, yeah, but that was like a lot of the difficulty has been numerical, and that's where a lot of the conversation of difficulty is.
Yeah,
it's in numerical. It's in, fuck you, why are you making us do split runs to do Mythic? Why do we have to do the same? Why do we have to hyper optimize this thing that's clearly completely unintended? Why are we abusing your system to get the gear to do the dungeon or do the raid at the level you want us to? This feels like you're aware of us abusing all your rules and working around it in a way that no one's really happy with. But that kind of falls a little bit away whenever it's just the mechanical stuff. It's like, scroll down just a little bit. It's like Lahuvim there with Resonance Cascade reduced by 90%. That's just, mechanic won't kill you. I'm not even sure what Resonance Cascade actually is anymore, but I remember, it's severe. Yeah.
Actually, I'm just going to see, does he have it here?
Yeah.
Okay, he doesn't have it here. I really hope I'm not remembering the wrong mechanic. Sorry for making you all motion sick.
Oh, yeah. After that discussion.
Yeah, okay. I could be wrong, but I think that is the one that basically had to have the group split up into 5 groups of 4 players.
That's crazy.
And now, you just all stand in a heap.
Just attack.
So basically, it's dead. It's a dead mechanic.
Dead,
I mean, also, 15% less health.
Yeah, I was wondering...
Increased cooldown and ability.
Yeah. For anyone else who's been kind of caught out by this, I was also wondering what the Resonance Cascade was. It's the event from Half-Life. Yeah. That's why I was in my head. It's like the Resonance Cascade. Why do I resonate there? But yes, go ahead.
That's it. Gordon was trying to solo the raid. He had no one to stack with.
Yeah. He survived, though. Must have been Paladin. Bold.
That's it, yeah.
Gordon Freeman, Paladin.
He had enough holy power loaded up in his suit. Now for Big Crab Boy, aftershock damage, 75% down. So I have to assume that just means it's a squib now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a Mythic Raider. Planet Cracker Beam. Well, you're going to need a weaker planet because it's 65% less damage, and it occurs less frequently. Anduin Rin. They used to call him Manduin.
Yeah.
No longer.
Now he's, I don't know.
Now he's little, small, easy to kill Anduin Rin.
Boyduin Rin. No.
Boyduin Rin. That's it. Hopelessness and overconfidence has been the duration increased to 16 seconds on all difficulties, up from 12. Blasphemy can no longer be triggered when coming into contact with an unmarked player on Mythic difficulty, and the tooltip will change later.
Hello! Hello,
Mythic mechanic?
It's heroic admin.
Dead.
Yeah, sorry, people were having trouble. I mean, obviously, I'm going to say this in a way that makes it sound like I'm making fun of people for not being able to do this, despite not being a Mythic Raider anymore. So it's like, okay, yeah. It's just you don't go to the unmarked person, stand still and let other people do the mechanic. I thought this was Mythic difficulty. Obviously, there's the Wicked Stars and stuff to do at the same time other times, but it's like, just... Why are you removing mechanics? It's just meant to be hard.
I think this is where Yoshi P comes in and says, frankly, that's a skill problem.
Frankly, that's a skill issue, yeah. That's what you need.
Unfair. I'm fucking with you.
That's what you need. You just need, like, well, to be fair, I don't think Ian's been rating this tier on live. His character's not been logged in for a long, long time. But the idea of just...
He also could be on another character that people don't know.
Could also be, yeah. Absolutely. After what they've done. No, that's the Shaman's okay. But I think they just need someone on the team to go, yep, skill issue, fucking good. But then they need people who are like...
well, you see, then it's tricky.
Yeah.
If that is so...
Yeah.
If that is so, then I fucking decree.
Yep.
Maybe Mythic should have no gear and should just be cosmetic.
That's one of the that's one of the things been bandied around. Yeah,
like
that's one of
that other game, because maybe then you could design the gearing to be more fun overall. Pretty much completely kill the whole split run issue, and
that wouldn't kill split
not
runs.
Kill. Sorry,
that actually wouldn't kill split runs at all.
Not kill.
That would actually make more split runs happen, probably.
Okay.
But yes,
I'm.
Yeah, I get you.
I'm trying to think of the best way to put this, because you're right. That was stupid.
Yeah.
It just like sets a level, right? And it's like you get to that level, then it's fair game, and then the challenge is the challenge, and then you design the challenge.
Yeah.
And you could try to go into that challenge a little bit earlier, but like it just kind of leaves it at that, you know? Right? Which maybe kind of okay. Saying that about split runs is stupid. Maybe it kind of like helps to normalize the sort of gear thing. Maybe it means they could have a more specific and clear tuning target. And then maybe the difference is just, because I think this is fundamentally the issue we've had from what my understanding is now. The amount of power gain that Mythic guilds are getting from like week to week isn't really increasing that much. And it's basically where some of the big guilds, like the Liquids and stuff, where they were in like week 2 or 3. It's like a similar enough level of power or something like that, which just kind of means that people are just trying and trying and trying and trying, and they're not really seeing the progress. And then Blizzard are like, okay, I will pull the lever. It's now easier. How many more of you will pass? Whereas if Mythic was maybe just set up with a different set of expectations, the way that like an FF14 Ultimate is.
Yeah, that's exactly what people have largely been saying.
That's sad. I mean, an Ultimate's one fight.
Well, yeah.
You know, so making like basically a sort of a, you know, ego mastery, right? Like thing for like 10 bosses every single tier, like would that just end up being more work? Maybe they're going to think about that. They're maybe going to think, well, if there's gear and gameplay in that, then we're just going to derive so much more gameplay time from it. Therefore, that's the only thing that we can really, you know, afford to do.
Yeah, that's almost exactly.
And then actually, because if they did remove gear from Mythic, then you wouldn't have like as much like inflation in item levels and stuff through the tiers. You would still have a similar feeling of like, you know, power, because like an item level is still an item level, but just because one difficulty no longer... Maybe there's some interesting things they could do there.
Yeah, however, because people have talking about this for the past couple of weeks, basically since this conversation started, and one of the things is like... how much of Mythic participation would you kill by putting it at the end of the loot treadmill? Which is, you know, instead of, oh, you're on the loot treadmill and the treadmill's still going, maybe the incline on the treadmill is a little bit up, so it's a lot harder. Maybe, you know, you have to jump over the hoops of getting the 20 players and stuff. But will people be willing to do that for no reward? The reward will be cosmetic, maybe. Maybe you can then make it a more deterministic reward. But you also make it really kind of awkward where there's no scaling down of the difficulty for satisfaction. The only thing that then matters is player skill, which is, for an RPG, not historically how RPGs have really been designed at any point in time ever. Because RPGs are about the whole game system, the whole world. They're about being this virtual microcosm of reality where, you know, just be better next time. That helps, but you can also do other things. I think that's the thing where people are worried you would kill Mythic participation by removing gear. as a reward.
Yeah, I
Because
think that's a
people-
very
yeah.
valid worry, and it would happen.
Yeah, so I think that leaves us in a very difficult position where...
Because then, like, Mythic's
Yeah.
not justified as much as a
Yeah.
development thing.
Yeah, and then that just kind of kills Mythic over time or
Yeah.
reduces the amount of effort that's allowed to go into it because it's going to have less guaranteed gameplay time. And then you're making so Mythic at the minute is for the top X% of whatever people say at the minute. Then it becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, and then it just gets cut. And then it was like, well, we have no high-end gameplay anymore. And that'll probably really piss off the developers who, like, the raid designers who love to do that.
Yeah.
And also players who love to do that. You're like, well, so you just kind of cut that off because you've removed the incentive to go in. You've cleaned up the incentive. But I think focusing on... It's almost a case of it has multiple reasons to do it at the minute. But if you choose that to just mastery, then that cuts off all of the other players, which is... In a world where Blizzard weren't going, how can we get maximum game time? You might go, that's fine. Because you're now saying, this is not an activity for you. Because it wasn't in the first place if you're coming into this for the gear. This was generally more for the people who want mastery of their thing and the camaraderie of a Mythic Guild and stuff like that. But that's kind of subdividing players a little hard. And obviously FF14 has decent success with doing this. But then you think of its comparison to Mythic difficulty as Savage, which has gear. It's a lot smaller. And that's where a lot of like the things coming from of just squish that shit real hard and tune it way tighter. But that's really hard to do because... And also the FF14 kind of thing is... Yeah, gear in that game is really boring. Gear in that game is not an exciting part of it whatsoever. The cosmetic side of it is very exciting and fucking fantastic. Gear is absolutely gorgeous every single time. They completely knock it out of the park. But you never care about enemies. You'll care about the weapons maybe because they're disproportionately strong. And that's where they have like the extreme weapons and the savage weapons. They like have like smaller gaps and stuff. But for general stuff, like, yeah, who gives a shit? And that part of the RPG is less important overall. So then you just have like, if you do that, that just kind of cuts off a whole bunch of gearing shit from World of Warcraft. You're like, it's less exciting. People don't get that. My character's now more powerful, feeling quite as strong, which is a super part of the game and always has been. So it leaves them in a really difficult place where you're like, well, what do? There's any number of options. And all of them have massive downsides and massive positives. So it's like, depends on what they'll do ultimately. And this, like what they're doing at the minute isn't very good because I don't think many people are very happy with this and it serves completion. It's just been a bit too hard and I have to end up making 47 different difficulties of Mythic. It's just like, oh yeah, Mythic's a different difficulty this week. It starts off at Mythic like 25 and then like, it's Mythic 23 this week, so I've nerfed it. People aren't doing it, make it Mythic 20 this week. And that's kind of the ultimate to how it feels. And then they're just making it heroic and they're like...
See, my thing is just like, I have so little of an experiential window into how all of this is played. Like, my goal has always just been curve. Obviously, a lot of us just didn't really play that much Shadowlands, so...
Yeah.
You know, curve, Manastria, got that, and then...
Missing 2 curves.
Huh?
Missing 2 curves.
Yeah, we're missing 2 curves, so hopefully we get more curves in... Hopefully get more curves in Dragonflight.